Hello everybody, welcome back to Mike Pink's Minis. Today we're doing something a little bit different and we're going to be doing a little talk video about my painting journey so far. Just a bit of a prelude to before I decided to make this channel. About when I started painting about half a year ago now. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. There'll be a little goblin painting in the background to keep you all entertained, lots of pictures and stuff. So yeah, enjoy. Our journey begins long ago when Mike was a little boy in secondary school. He had just learned about Warhammer and went crazy for the minis. So crazy, he decided to start 4 armies at once. He got a Tau start collecting box, a Tyrannid start collecting box, and the Assault on Black Reach box, which came with 2 different armies. So yeah, I painted these up originally when I was about 13 or 12, and they were awfully done. Honestly, they were horrific. There was no priming, no thinning the paint, there was splodges everywhere, bits I'd missed. I did end up giving some of them to my brother to finish some of the paint jobs on them, as he had a bit more experience with painting models. He painted some Lord of the Rings Warhammer. Jumped to the present day, and it's late last year, I decided to try my hand at painting again. I still had a lot of unpainted models, however all my paints were dried up and ruined. I decided to sell off these models so that I was able to afford new paints and newer models. This paint and sell method is something that I've been doing quite a lot. It gives me a lot of sustainability and affordability when painting, and it allows me to try new stuff and new techniques, new models, and I get to sell them on to loving homes where hopefully they join someone's army. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've painted and sold, and even now looking back you can see there is a stark difference from where I started to where I am now. So the first thing I painted was this old Blackreach Dreadnought. Some parts didn't end up so bad, but there was an awful OSL attempt, and the base was especially awful. The base had already had some rocks glued to it from before, and then I decided to stick some actual dried grass, and this was a terrible idea. So next I had a box of Space Marine snipers left over. These were the scouts. These I'm a lot happier with. The details and blocking of some of the colours work so much better. The faces, however, they were a bit derpy, but for the first attempt they were a lot better than the Dreadnought at least. The bases, I put some grass tufts on over this horrible green texture. I don't know what I even did. One thing I was extra pleased of was the cloaks and how they looked weathered and wet. Next was a Chaos Champion model, which was the first model I actually bought specifically to paint. It was a simple red and gold scheme and didn't turn out too bad. However, I can't imagine doing all the trim on an entire Chaos army, but I did make a custom base for the guy and added some cork rocks. I bought some grots for super cheap. They were pre-assembled and based, so all was left for me to do was to paint them. These were my first purchase into my orc army, but I'll show them here so you can see how far I've actually come. I did use normal eyes for them, which I'll probably go back and change to red dots, as they do look really bad. I do have a lot more orcs painted, but I'll most likely do an army showcase video in the future, showing everything that I've painted and still to paint, so let me know if you want to see that in the comments below. Up next was a Space Marine Captain. Now I really flubbed with this one. Just for the most part, I hate this model and this paint job that I did. The only good things I painted, well, were the cloth and the little eagle on the banner. Other than that, there is a lot I would have done differently. I painted up a commissar. I originally wanted to have a red and white uniform, however the red speed paint that I used just kept running when I applied the white, and this gave him a pink trim, which really sucked. But so I went with yellow just to cover it up, and I did a bright blue plasma gun, which was fun and doesn't look completely awful. I did a tech priest next. This is the model where I eventually went and bought super glue because it would not stick to the base. I tried and I tried, and it just would not go on. This was a cool metal model, however. I had about 2 metal paints at a time, and trying to use these really sucked with the amount of pipes, pumps and pistons there are. It's a super cool model, and I'm actually really happy with the paint job that I did with it. Up next, I managed to get a cheap Age of Sigmar starter kit off eBay, which came with about 6 paint and 2 models. It was really useful to get some more paints on a cheap, and the models were fun and easy to paint. I would recommend one of these kits if you're starting out and just wanted to test painting something different for a change. I did end up buying some of the larger Tyranid models. The new sculpts were awesome, and what I saw, they really appealed to me. I also wanted a bit of nostalgia, as one of my original starting armies was Tyranid, so I painted up the Psychophage first, which you can see here. So it's got a black and blue carapace with a sort of custom rocky basing. Someone ended up buying this for £35, which I was like, wow, okay, wasn't expecting that, but you know, it just kind of pushed me to paint more really. Now we get onto the funny scouts. I got this kit to test my paint scheme for the Grey Knights that I bought on the cheap. Practicing the metal armour and the blue power swords, they turned out looking good, except for those lifeless eyes. He is horrifying, but I still love him. The Neurotyrant was really fun to paint, with the 2 little brain bugs. I did a lot of wet blending. This was used to make nice blends in the skin and the brains. The brains were so much fun to paint, and I love the bright contrast it gives to the rest of the body. Notice I switched to a white background, and the pictures get a little bit better from here on out. I thought I'd include this sneaky preview of when I was painting up my Orcs Combat Patrol. As it came with 2 squads, I painted 2 different colour schemes for their skin, and these were the tester models. It was nice to have some variety, and so I could see what I was going for with each. I also bought 5 Infernus Marines. When I made these, I wanted to make little flame bursts and flame coming out the front of them. I think they look kind of cool, and I'd imagine they look good on the tabletop. However, the one on the left with the bigger one, it was a little too front heavy, and the mini kept toppling over. But they were cool salamanders, and it was fun to paint the green marines. Definitely would like to paint some more in the future. And this was my first attempt at attempting those little lava bases, which you'll see again very soon. The last of the 3 big Tyranids was the Screamer Killer. This one was cool to paint. I went for the Leviathan theme for this one to try and paint more like the box art. I even added a dead Cadian on the base, who is aptly named Splatman. This one was fun to paint. Paint all the bone and off-white was great, but a little challenging. Then, last of all, my latest project, which I just finished up a couple of weeks ago. I painted up a whole 1,400 points Grey Knights. I bought these on the cheap, so they were a lot of fun. And when I finally pushed myself to paint them, I batch painted these to make sure they were all done step by step, so all of them had the same level of detail and stuff. I'm super proud of the blended power swords with the blue and white speckles, and the lava bases were done even better this time around. Some of them had little cork rocks to stand on as well, which made them even bigger, and it looked even better with those ones on. I'm super happy with how this army turned out, and I hope they enjoyed their new home. Well, I just want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and stick around for more. Hopefully this journey continues, and there'll be lots more for you to see. Bye bye.